White House economic advisor Larry Kudlow, who constantly seems like he's boozing before he does these segments, was on Charles Payne's Fox Business show to talk about how cool it is to work. Let's take a look.
I think in recent years, the extraordinary increase in jobs and employment has really made folks come back to work.
Millions.
It's like for a whole bunch of years, you could see it in the labor numbers. People didn't want to work. And I think, if I may, it's cool to work. Your neighbor, your brother-in-law, the guy down the street. Working has become cool again. If you looked, one of my favorites was the millennials, the youngsters. Their participation rates and their job increases were phenomenal before this virus came in. And you know me, I also think work is a virtue, and I think work is a godly virtue as well. But I believe it's been cool to work, and people are going to want to come back and work.
I agree.
I didn't know that getting drunk before doing a cable news segment was work, but apparently he thinks it is, and he thinks it's very cool.
Yeah. So, look, I don't know if he's intoxicated, but it doesn't matter. That's intoxicated or not. He says the same crazy stuff.
Cenk, what was that? What is he talking about?
No,
I think it's really cool to work. And like millennials, they didn't want to work before. But what is he talking about? We're in the middle of a pandemic. People are not working right now because they literally can't. A bunch of people just got laid off from their jobs, lost their health care. What is he going on about? What is that?
No, I'm going to explain it. It's got a lot of different components, okay? It's very sophisticated. It's not. But look, that segment was actually really telling. So number one, for folks like Larry Kudlow who already have wealth, they really think that work is optional. And so they project onto people who don't have a lot of money their attitude, which is, well, look, I'm trying to convince you to go back to work because and that's why I'm telling you work is cool. You should try it. When he's so disconnected from the average American. The average American isn't going to work because it's cool. He's going to work because he needs a goddamn job. Because he doesn't have money. He's got to put food on the table. He's got to pay the rent. He's got kids. They're not going to work because it's cool. I hope they have a cool job. I hope they're, enjoy their work and get fulfillment. But that's not that's great if you can get it. But in the real world, work is not optional. But in their world of incredibly rich people, work is optional. And so that's why they assume when unemployment numbers go up like 16 million, that people chose not to work, and he's trying to encourage them to get back to work. You idiot, they got fired. It's not like they decided, 16 million people all of a sudden decided not to work anymore because it wasn't cool. And then the second part of it is, and this one's a little bit more speculative, but I feel like he kept using the word cool over and over again and then went into godly, etc., because he's talking to an African-American host. And so maybe he thinks there's an African-American audience watching Fox Business because the guy's black. And so he's like, guys, I'm telling you, it's cool, man. It's cool to go back to work. And, and it's also godly, work is a virtue, godly, for those of you who go to church, right? Amazing. Amazing. They don't know anything about the
people who are working, as we talked about yesterday, the people who are working right now, the essential workers, I'm pretty sure they're not at work because they think it's cool. Okay. I think that most of them, especially because a lot of these essential workers are not making a lot of money, they're working because they literally have to, even if it puts their own health or life at risk. Okay. It's just the nonstop insults that come from people like Larry Kudlow and his ilk. I'm done with it. I'm done with it. Okay. Listen to how he thinks of average people. He thinks we're all lazy. He thinks that we don't want to work, that we just want to suck on the teat of government programs. Get the hell. It's at what point is America as a country going to wake up and expect more from people who are supposed to serve us in government? He's an economic advisor, and he thinks the vast majority of Americans are lazy mother effers who don't want to work. And so he's got to sell it as being cool to get people. I mean, how many years have we been talking about the lack of quality in the jobs that are out there? That people have to like piece together several different jobs just to make ends meet for their families. Yeah. It's just, I'm just sick of it. I'm just tired of it. Like, I'm tired of having to deal with these buffoons and these clowns every single day and basically watch what they say and analyze what they say as if they have anything interesting, informative, or valid to say.
Yeah, here's who I don't need to get lectured to about work and the value of work. A guy who just came back from a 3-martini lunch. So
told you.
Okay, so first off, even Mika Brzezinski on Morning Joe, she's not one to do this, and it's mainstream media. They don't normally do this, but she's like, no, he's drunk. He's definitely drunk. And so now, again, I don't know, but I do know that Kudlow appears that way all the time on television. And I know how hard my job is, and I couldn't do it while, throwing down 3 martinis at lunch, breakfast, and wherever else. So he lives a life of luxury, which goes to my main point. It reminds me of what it was like before the French Revolution, really, where the elites are so removed from the rest of us that they have these fantastical ideas in their heads. So when Marie Antoinette said, well, let them eat cake when they were asking for bread. It's the same thing when Kudlow's like, oh, 16 million people are out of work. Oh, it turns out they're lazy and they don't want to go to work. But if we made it seem like work is cool, maybe they'll go back. No, they have no money. They have no money. They just got fired. You buffoon, you idiot. And most importantly, you elitist snob who is setting policy for America. You think that guy's going to look out for you? No, he's going to look out for the richest people in the country because those are his friends. Those are the people he knows and empathizes with. He doesn't understand your life at all.